Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our review and comparison of Roborock's two similarly priced and similarly named, but very different robot vacuums, the Saros 10 and Saros 10R. Both of these should be considered top-of-the-line models, but they each have their pros and cons and different use cases. We bought both of them and have been putting them through various tests over the past few weeks to see which one was the best. And while as of the time of this video, they're both ranking in the top 5 on the Vacuum Wars Top 20 list, one of them is definitely better than the other in my opinion, and in this video I'll explain why. So links in the description, and let's get started. Let me start off by talking about what they both have in common. They're both super premium robot vacuum mop combos that can vacuum hard floors and carpets and mop hard floors at the same time. They both come with a fully featured auto empty bin/charging dock, which automatically empties the contents of the robot's dustbin, washes their mop pads with hot water, dries their mop pads with hot air, and refills the robot's internal mop tank with clean water. Both of their mop stations have self-washing, fast charging, detergent filling, as well as sensors that can tell how dirty the mop water is, so it knows how much to wash the mop pads. Basically, they both have everything you could want in a multifunction dock. They both use the same Duo Divide main brush and Flexi Arm automatically extending side brush for better edge coverage, and both the side brush and main brush work well together with sweeping ability, which we tested extensively for both hard floors and carpets and found them both to be better than average and able to pick up all the types and sizes of debris that we used very efficiently. The new Duo Divide brush, which is split in the middle and kind of channels hair to the middle to resist tangles, is exceptionally good. For example, they both were able to completely resist any hair tangles with the 7-inch hair test, where the average tangle amount is about 40%. They both also have an impressive new feature where they can raise up to get over larger thresholds in houses. They both were able to clear the 20mm and 26mm thresholds in our tests. Roborock says that they can clear up to 30mm thresholds straight up, or up to 40mm if the threshold is multi-tiered. They also use the same app with all the same features like customizable cleaning tasks, virtual barriers, real-time status monitoring, multi-level mapping, granular control of features like bin empty behaviors and obstacle avoidance settings, lots of pet-related features. It's one of the higher-rated apps on the App Store and one of our favorite apps in general. Let's move on to the differences, and there are some significant ones. Probably the most obvious difference is the mopping system. The 10R uses 2 spinning mop pads, and the 10 uses the so-called VibraRise 4.0, which is a single mop pad that vibrates. Both mop pad systems can lift up their pads automatically to avoid getting carpets wet, 18mm for the 10 and 8mm on the 10R, which are both higher than the 5mm on the original Roborock VibraRise system like on the S7. Interestingly, they both have the option to detach their mop pads and leave them behind in the dock in order to vacuum carpets first and then go back and get their pads to mop floors, so you can be extra sure that you're keeping your carpets dry. One big difference, though, was with our dried-on stain mopping test, where the 10R, with its spinning pads, was significantly better with stain pickup than the 10. The 10R got 103 points compared to 57 points on the 10, where the average is around 94. We also measure how much water they leave behind in this test to see how prone they are to streaking, and the Saros 10 left behind about half as much water as the Saros 10R. And while leaving behind small amounts of water is good, leaving behind much lower than average amounts like the Saros 10 did is also why it didn't mop stains as well as the Saros 10R. So it's a balancing act. The bottom line was the Saros 10R was a better mop in my opinion with its 2 spinning pads. The amount of water it left behind was a little high, but not excessive. The Saros 10R was better in another key area too, which was obstacle avoidance. They both have front-mounted obstacle avoidance sensors, which include cameras and the new VertiBeam infrared light sensor, but the Saros 10R has Roborock's new StarSight obstacle avoidance system, which uses time-of-flight technology and other sensors to detect and avoid household objects. In our obstacle avoidance tests, the Saros 10R was the first robot vacuum that we've tested to get a perfect score. And while the Saros 10 was much better than average with obstacle avoidance, getting a very respectable 21 out of 24 points, it was not as good as the Saros 10R. The Saros 10 did do slightly better than the 10R in one area, which was navigation. And this is a good time to mention the retractable LiDAR feature on the Saros 10. Both of these robots do not have traditional top-mounted spinning LiDAR systems, which almost every premium Roborock has had in recent years. The idea is eliminating the top LiDAR module makes the robot vacuum slimmer and makes them able to get under more furniture to vacuum. And both of these robots are about 3.14 inches tall, but they've been made slimmer in different ways. The Saros 10R, for example, uses an internal LiDAR system, and the Saros 10 uses a retractable top LiDAR, which most of the time is extended, except when it senses low furniture when it retracts. In the navigation efficiency tests, which we do by running the robots on a fixed floor plan several times, the Saros 10 was slightly better than the 10R. They both also had very similar battery life efficiency numbers, which were also quite a bit above the average amount. Though the Saros 10 did end up getting a higher square foot per charge estimation because of its faster navigation. But again, both of these numbers are better than the competition on average, so neither navigation or battery life should be a concern with either of these. Another area that really made the Saros 10R stand out over the Saros 10 to me was in the various practical performance tests and bench tests. For example, although they both have the same official suction power numbers, this number can vary in practical tests because of the differences in the way that they're constructed, and in this case it did seem to make a difference. The Saros 10R had slightly higher suction and airflow scores in our tests, as well as a higher carpet deep clean score and a higher crevice pickup score. So after adding all these numbers up, and with the current prices and online ratings being taken into account, their current Vacuum Wars scores are the Saros 10R at 4.79 stars and the Saros 10 at 4.63 stars, where the average is 3.13. So it's no surprise that they're both currently ranking in the top 5 on the Vacuum Wars top 20 list, but the Saros 10R does have a better mopping system, better obstacle avoidance system, and generally better performance. And considering that they're selling at pretty much the same price as of the time of this video, my vote is for the Saros 10R, all else being equal. Links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching. All of the links in the description are updated regularly to reflect our current favorite vacuums in multiple categories. You'll also find links to the Vacuum Wars website in the description, where we have more detailed lists of our favorite products, like our new top 20 robot vacuums list, which is updated weekly.